All right, good afternoon. This lesson is for my honors integrated 1 class. This is lesson 20.3 from our book. Before I get started, I just want to say I hope everyone is doing all right out there. Make sure we're getting all our work turned in. I think there's one of you or two of you who've been slacking. Let's make sure they're all turned in. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about our goals here real quick. We have 3 goals today for our section. We have this acronym Cpctc, which I'll talk about really quick. I'm going to also define what regular shapes are. And then finally, I'm going to discuss the Sas Triangle Congruence criteria. And so let me go ahead and get through these first 2 goals really quick. Cpctc is a short way to write the following. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. You guys understand this. You guys understand that if you have congruent triangles, then the parts that are in the same position themselves must also be equal. Now, when we're going beyond having congruent triangles, let's say we want to argue 2 sides of different triangles are the same. One of the things that we're going to do, the structure of the argument, is we're going to first argue that the triangles are the same. So far we can argue that we have identical triangles using angle, side angle, or angle, angle, side. After we reach the conclusion that our triangles are indeed congruent, what we can then say is the 2 sides that we were interested in arguing are the same. Those sides must be congruent. That would be our statement. And our reason in the 2-column proof would be Cpctc, and that's, you're telling me that these side lengths must be the same because these side lengths are corresponding parts of congruent triangles. So this is a way to go 1 step beyond proving triangles are congruent. The second goal today that I want to talk about is defining what regular shapes are. Regular shapes, there's 2 criteria. All the sides are congruent or equal, and all the angles are congruent and equal. So I have right here a triangle that I drew, triangle ABC, and I just made the statement, assume triangle ABC is regular. What that means that I know is I know that all the sides must be the same, right? And I know all the angles must also be the same. So the word regular, I'm telling you something without saying it specifically. And remember, in mathematics, we do this a lot. So instead of me saying all of this, I can just say regular, and I'm saying it to you without saying. So just be aware of that. You'll see that in one of your problems for today. And so now let's get into our last goal, which is discussing Sas Triangle Congruence. Okay, so let me just remind you how we got to these triangle congruences. In section 20.1, we saw that we had to, 20.1, we saw that we had to actually argue that all the sides and all the angles had to be the same, and they had to be in the same position. And after we argued that all the parts of the triangles were the same, we could then conclude that those 2 triangles themselves were the same. So if something has identical parts in identical places, then those objects as a whole must also be identical. In section 20.2, we saw that we didn't have to show as much. We had to show that we had an angle, a side, and an angle of one triangle being the same as an angle on the side and an angle in another triangle. So we actually had a shorter way to argue that triangles are congruent. Well, we also were able to extend that idea to the angle side congruence pattern, and from there, we got there because we used the fact that the 3 angles of any triangle must add up to 180, and if 2 angles of one triangle are same as 2 angles of another triangle, then it forces the third angles of both triangles to be congruent. So today is just another pattern day. And again, if we had if you're in the class and we had our compasses and rulers, we would actually be copying triangles. First we'd copy a side, then we'd copy an angle, and then we'd copy another side. And after doing these steps, we would see that we have the exact same triangle that we started off with. So we would actually physically build this. And that also reminds me that some of these questions I might overlook some of the homework questions. If any of the homework questions are constructions, don't worry about doing those. We don't have compasses. We don't have straight edges. Now, if you want to try and build a compass, that's something you can do. I know that people sometimes use paper clips as compasses. I've seen that done before, where you actually hold one side of the paper clip in place and then you move the pencil and that's a way to make a 5-cent compass. But let's just go ahead and finish the last goal, and then that'll be the lesson for today. All right, so side angle side is what we're talking about, and I have a feeling that red might be lost to the glare, but side angle side, side angle side. So again, we're looking for congruence patterns. That's all it is. So if two triangles have these congruence patterns, notice the angle is made up of the congruent sides. These angles are called included angles. Okay, so this congruence pattern what this means, or what it allows us to conclude, means the two triangles themselves must be identical. So this is what we're looking for. Excuse me. Let me just kind of say a couple things really quick. I can hide congruences. I can hide congruent angles by vertical angles. I can hide congruent sides by bisecting them. So look out for that. You know, this might not be very obvious at first, but if you start using the clues, hopefully you can work your way through that. But we're literally just looking for this. So this is what the side angle side congruence looks like. Let me remind you what the angle side angle congruence looks like. Actually, let's do this too. So we're looking for something that looks like this. And we also have the last pattern, which is the angle angle side congruence pattern. Alright, let's see here. Oh, I'm not doing very good, am I? Angle, angle, side. Angle, angle, side. Alright, so these are our three congruence patterns that we're looking for. Again, this is for section 20.3. I hope everyone's doing well. Make sure you get this assignment done. This is all I can assign, and this is all that you can do for work, so let's make sure we're doing everything that's assigned to you. If you have any questions, reach out to me on the app, or on the Remind app, or through the email, or even Google Class. I can answer questions through that. So again, let's make sure that we are doing what we need to do. So I will go ahead and post this video. Again, I hope everyone's doing all right out there. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good day.